Two different fonts for my masthead. The first one is a script font. This font is elegant and feminine. I did this as the name Le Pop is French, therefore I wanted it to look elegant. I did this so that it relates to my audience, as this magazine is aimed at girls. The second part, Pop, I did in a thick, bold font which will pop on the screen. I use this font so that it stands out really well. For my cover lines, I have made them relatable subjects that I thought my audience would be most interested in, such as makeup, celebrity quizzes, etc. I have also used the kind of language that my audience of tweens would understand and be familiar with. I have used a pull quote to represent Amber Fox, who is the main image. I have used the quote "Find My Style," as the double page spread is an interview about her giving advice and tips about hair and beauty. Therefore, it would draw the attention of the audience as they would want to find out more about her style. For the masthead on my content page, I made it relatable to the audience as I used slang instead of full words, as it is more like how teens would speak themselves, for example shortening words like mag. I have also kept the house style by using similar colours and sticking with the pink and purples that I have used on the front cover. I have used images of the magazine cover so that if there was something that the reader was interested in on the front cover, then they can simply look at this to find out what page the article is on. For the masthead on my double page spread, I have made it simple and made it the person's name who the article is about, simply so the reader will know who it is about. I have also made it really big and bold, almost. For my article, I decided to do an interview. I did this so that the words would be directly from the celebrity's mouth, and therefore I thought the reader would find it more interesting, as because it is their style and giving the reader advice, I figured it would be a lot more intriguing for the reader. The main art that I have used on the double page spread is an image of the person who the article is about. I did this obviously so it is clear who it is about. I dressed my model in quite feminine clothing to make her come across as girly and also an interesting style that the younger girl audience would be interested in looking at their stereotypes. In my magazine there is a clear stereotype that runs throughout the whole thing, and this is the use of colours. I have used lots of bright exciting colours and a lot of pinks and purples that are stereotypically known as girl colours. Ideal self. I have used an ideal self on the front of my magazine as it is aimed at tween girls, and I have used a pretty model that they are most likely wanting to look towards for fashion and beauty ideas, therefore they would want to look like them and also be like them. Semiotics. The semiotics can link with the stereotypes as I have used lots of pinks throughout my whole magazine, and this colour is mainly known as a girly colour. Mise en scène. The clothing that I have dressed my model in are very bright and interesting and are the kind of style that my younger audience would like to wear. Mise en scène. The clothing that I have dressed my model in are very bright and interesting and are the kind of style that my younger audience would like to wear. The audience for my magazine is tween girls, roughly the age of 13, who are typically into girly things such as the colour pink, and they tend to dress in pastel coloured clothes such as baby pinks and blues and also whites. The type of clothes they tend to wear are pretty dresses and flowy skirts and also Converse, more specifically white ones. The audience I have in my magazine are most likely to listen to pop music that are in the charts, so most likely stations like Capital FM, Hallam FM and Heart. The kind of artists my target audience would listen to are people like Ariana Grande, One Direction and Justin Bieber. The programmes that they enjoy watching are talent shows such as X Factor, Britain's Got Talent. They also enjoy watching soaps such as Coronation Street and EastEnders. They would also be interested in makeup and fashion, therefore they will enjoy looking at different artists' styles and want to know how they create their style, if they like how their makeup is, or if they like the clothes that they are wearing, they will want to know where to get them from. To attract my audience, I used a specific house style throughout the whole magazine. I have mainly used the colour pink on all 4 pages and a few pops of purple, and I did this so that it would catch the eye of tweens, as I feel they would automatically know that they would enjoy this type of magazine. Also, the colour pink and purple is stereotypically a girl colour, and a colour that most girls around the age of 12, 13 and 14 would be interested in and intrigued by, and are most likely to pick up off the shelf. I have also used an ideal self on my magazine for the younger teenagers to look up to for fashion and style tips. I have dressed my model really girly and feminine so that my audience will look up to them and want to be like them. The fonts that I have used are really thick, bold fonts, therefore they will stand out really well and are really noticeable. And I use this particular font as I feel like younger people tend to be drawn more towards big, bold things, such as fonts and colours. I have also used a mixture of fonts. For example, in my masthead I have used two different fonts. Firstly, I have used a script font. I feel like this makes the magazine look a lot more elegant and girly. Then the thicker font also shows the more playful and fun side of the magazine, as it is aimed at younger audience, therefore they will see the fun side in all of the bolder colours. The language that I have used to attract the audience is typically teenage language, by shortening easier words such as celeb. For Photoshop, I have learnt how to remove the background of images without making the subject of the image looking too harsh and edited. To soften the edges of the subject for her hair to look more realistic, I use the smudge tool. Looking back on my preliminary exercise, I feel my knowledge on magazine designs and skills on how to use the different softwares that I have used have improved. For Photoshop, I have learnt how to remove the background of images without making the subject of the image looking too harsh and edited. To soften the edges of the subject for her hair to look more realistic, I use the smudge tool. On InDesign, I have learnt how to look at my magazine and decide what looks good and what doesn't. For example, colours, fonts and layout. I have changed the colour of my font and tried multiple different designs before I actually decide which one I like the best and what looked good on the rest of the magazine. I've also learnt how to take more professional photos. As for my preliminary task, I took photos of my model against a background of the college. However, for my main task, I used a studio and a white background. By doing this, it allowed me to do a lot more with editing my images, as it was more plain and a lot easier to remove the background. I've also learnt to use studio lights to make my images look more professional and to help get rid of unwanted shadows and also add extra lighting in